Welcome to Name That GER. The GER of discussion today is the GER Tzedek Jewish convert. This GER is one type of many GER, or in the Jewish Hebrew plural, Gerim. This GER, the GER Tzedek Convert Jew. GER has many meanings: stranger, foreigner, sojourner, along with many other connotations. In modern day, it has become standard as proselyte or convert, which we're finding out that in the ancient, accurate, authentic sources only tells one sliver of the entire bigger picture. There are, in fact, many types of GER. In fact, everybody on the planet is GER. But that gets confusing. And the rabbis of the Talmud were able to redact and refine the world of GER into X amount of subsets. Even though these terms are rabbinic by nature, for the Torah itself only spoke of GER, we're left at great confusion. What is GER? The rabbis of the Talmud and tradition and Bible commentary have used and refined a system that, even though it's a bit confusing, it allows us to peek and understand into the world of the GER. Thus, our friend again, our convert friend, who is GER Tzedek. Tzedek simply means righteous. And although in the spectrum of GER, righteous can have many connotations. Did he come from far away? Is that why he's righteous? Is he coming from a higher spiritual root in his soul? Is that why he's righteous? For our definition today, he's righteous simply because he has chosen by free will to convert into the Jewish people in a modern day language and vernacular. He has become your brother to the Jew. For example, when the Torah says you have one law, one Torah for you, the native, and for the foreigner or for the GER among you, which is used in conjunction with the laws of Passover, in that right, he is the Jewish brother. For all intents and purposes, he's your brother because in 613 commandments, this newly found Jew, a convert, who was a GER proper, as we're saying, a non-Jew, now he has chosen to go before Beit Din, which is applicable today and always has been. He has accepted and to keep upon himself 613 commandments that are applicable to him. That is called in Hebrew, achicha, your brother. Certain mitzvahs or stages in Judaism require a brotherhood for direct relationship. For example, for the Korban Passover, the Passover offering, it must be achicha, must be somebody who falls in line with the commandment to partake in the Passover. As the verse says, the native is obviously included. The GER is also included, but only if he has a proper circumcision. The authorities then discuss what other parameters exist in this GER. We'll loosely call him the GER Tzedek, even though the convert is obviously involved in the mitzvah, and the GER Tzedek by the Passover can be a non-Jew. For all intents and purposes, he who is your brother, he is a Jew. And the convert GER Tzedek, by accepting 613, he becomes what is called achicha, a brother to the Jew. Now, in comparison and contrast, the mitzvah to love the GER, if you pay attention to the language of such codifiers as the Rambam, he does not require the love to be on the level of achicha, your brother. Thus, the mitzvah is open to all types of GER. And yet still, they will say in the commentaries that the mitzvah is open to the GER Tzedek. which requires further study and analysis to which ger is always involved in a mitzvah or not. For that reason today, the GER Tzedek Convert is your brother, and we are defining GER Tzedek in the realm of Convert Jew. Yes, there are other options, there are other ways that this can work out, as for every label, Ger Toshav or GER Tzedek, usually it can lend itself more than one way. Today our friend, the convert, he is effectively a Jew. His limitation is that he may not marry, or she may not marry, a priest. I like to say it's not the GER convert problem that they cannot marry into the priesthood, rather it's the Kohen, or priestly problem. Just like he cannot marry a divorcee, he cannot marry what is called a zona, somebody not fit for him in marriage due to a forbidden relationship. Today, in today's Judaism, a convert may not marry a priest, and that is a priestly problem. Thus, the convert is a bona fide Jew or Jewess, an Israelite in the third house of Israel, even though they are still related to the fourth house, Ger, in certain qualifications, meaning it is still a mitzvah to love them, not only for the sake of the mitzvah to love your neighbor, but also to love the Ger. We are to be careful not to remind them of their past. So even though there are times we ask for, let's say, for marriage, for loving them, are you a Ger or not, comes into the question, but for all intents and purposes, the convert is a Jew. He can perform the mitzvahs that is available at this time, and for him or her, based on male or female, obviously, and we are to view them as absolute Jews. There's no discrimination. We are to merge them into our communities and to love them. The trial is to go before Beis Din. That is the process of Ger, not of a proper convert. Once they have converted, they are Jewish. Thus the trial and difficulties are in the path of Ger, which as we see today, Ger is very troubling. Is one a Ger this? Is Ger a Noahide? There are many avenues one can go in being a Ger. But if they choose to become Jewish by their desire to not wait 3 generations of proper Ger and absorbing into Israel, they've decided to accept and to guard 613 commandments. They are now Jews once they go through a proper halachic conversion. Even though there are laws that get around proper halachic conversion by the Torah itself, they would not be granted liberty in a Jewish community. The entire point of being a convert is to join in a brotherhood by his own desire to share in the mitzvot, so to be not in a community is counterproductive, and thereby regarded as what is called b'di'evet, a lesser quality in concept. The higher quality of concept is lecharchila, the optimal way and the non-optimal way. Judaism is about the optimal way. To be a convert is to be in a community, thriving, performing mitzvot as a Jew, strictly for one's desire to be Jewish. The convert has in mind one thing. It is namely to be a Jew. He or she would feel that they are best serving Hashem as Jews. They simply would love Judaism. Where Judaism has nuances in the law, they thrive and look forward to those nuances. One who does not wish those nuances upon themselves. There's no shame in that. That is the path of Ger. And even that has many ways that it can be performed. A convert is a non-Jew who comes generally from afar, wishes to dwell inside the Jewish people as a brotherhood in conjunction with all mitzvot for a simple love to be not only with Torah and Hashem and the Jewish people, but to be Jewish amongst the Jewish people. If your strict interest is in being Jewish, in the most normative sense, not Jewish, but Jewish as a religion, then perhaps Convert GER Tzedek is the path for you. That's all for today. Stay tuned. God willing, we will commence with an entire series outlining what is GER.